Hey everyone, hi. I hope you had a blessed week. And again, once again, thank you for the beautiful outpouring in regards to my father. I really appreciate all that. So, um, I, when you tell people you're an actor, they don't know what to do with that. You might as well say you're from Mars. They're like so taken back. And one of the first questions they always ask is, what have you been in? Or would I know you? Should I recognize you? They're just uncomfortable. It was the joke from years ago. I think I've shared this. People say, what have you been in? And I used to joke debt. But I don't want to perpetuate that mentality. So I stopped saying that joke. So anyway, it's an awkward deal. And one of the most common next exchanges is, you'll be talking with them, and let's say something gets a little animated, or you're talking about politics or something, and you're kind of getting a little animated, and they'll look at you and they'll say, are you acting now? Are you, or how do you know, like in a relationship, I've been asked this question, if you're crying, let's say you're in a relationship and you're upset, doesn't your partner think you're just, acting, right? And so one of the biggest misconceptions about being an actor is that we are just really good bullshitters, okay? And the problem is that I understand why people would say that. I mean, have you seen, one of the problems with, community theater is a good example. The theater attendance, forget COVID, that's a whole nother world. Theater attendance has declined for years. Now, there's a bunch of reasons for it. But one of the reasons is that community theater is so freaking bad. And, you go because you have friends in it. And so and there's moments that are entertaining, and what the hell, you don't have to drive too far, right? But if I could be like president for a day, I would make community theater either free, subsidized by some, so people could go and not have an investment where they're like judging the situation, because they shouldn't, because it's community freaking theater. You got people who have, maybe one semi-legitimate or legitimate actor in the group, surrounded by a bunch of realtors and housewives, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's only as strong as the weakest link. So as the audience sits there and paid $25, $30, $40 for community theater, I mean, holy hell. And so people just go, oh God. And they get this diet of superficial acting. And that's the truth. Everyone's acting their asses off. I won't go into the details of what directors do in community theater. And it's not just community theater, by the way. There's a lot of regional theater in the colleges that teach this crap, and it's very presentational, meaning here it is. This has been rehearsed, and I'm going to serve it up. Now, you got to understand, Sanford Meisner, my teacher, it's the opposite of that. It's all about not acting. It's all about working instinctively off the moment for what is happening in front of you, and not anticipating anything and not serving up anything, okay? So we approach acting with the opposite. This perception that actors are great bullshitters, again, it exists because it's real, unfortunately. There's a lot of it out there, okay? But for all you who are part of this community who truly want to be actors or are actors, there is another way. And this is not an infomercial for the Meisner technique, but I can just tell you that the truth is, there's the level of acting that I'm interested in, that I was trained in, is all about not bullshitting, not acting, not being false, not playing moments, not serving up moments, not fake crying, fake anything, but being real and authentic. So it's quite an insult to hear and see this, because that is the perception, but it is what it is. I don't obsess over it or care a whole hell of a lot. But again, when you do care about the profession and the craft, to have it watered down so much to the point, and it diluted the experience, that people just go like, I don't even want to go to theater. I get it. I mean, when I go to theater, I talk to my students all the time about this. I leave at intermission over half the time. If it's my own students, of course, I'm going to stay to the very end. And honestly, it works really good. But it's only as strong as the weakest link. And you can't fake real. And so much of acting is bullshitting. But for those, again, that are interested in acting or thought about it or into it, there is another way. And it is all about being present and real and not acting and not bullshitting. Ever. Nothing false. Present, real, free. It's powerful. So it just came up this week. It literally came up when somebody found out what I did, and it came up quickly about this bullshitting dynamic, right? And I just gave a very brief overview that it doesn't have to be that way. And you watch some of the great performances that have moved you. Believe me, they were present and real. They weren't bullshitting you. So I just wanted to address that one. Okay, something a little more lighthearted after a few weeks of heaviness. I'll see you next week. My love and best.